Hi y'all, welcome back to another video. So let's discuss about how to reimburse employee expense in Odoo 16.
The reimburse expense can be managed in the expense module of Odoo platform where the users can create expense type products and allocate them by a group. The reimbursement for any employer can be explained with the help of example. Let's say the employee wants to conduct an annual meeting for its all employees and partners. It would have certain miscellaneous expenses such as decoration, refreshment, rent of the community hall, and accommodation, which have been paid by employee and should be reimbursed from the company. Initially, the user creates various types of expenses to allocate the program. The expense in Odoo are defined as expensive product, and the user can create by one selecting the expense product from the menu configuring tab of the expense module. The user can allocate cost and taxes associated with it. Since the meeting needs decoration, we use flowers and refreshment. Snacks can be provided and accommodation can be provided for the employee. Upon creating each products in the information should be saved, the user can choose from the customized product available in the window.
Mission admin has went through an expense of hotel accommodation, so we have to manage the hotel accommodation as a product. And we know that hotel accommodation is type of service product, like service, and we can choose the type of the product as service, and he need to re-invoice the expense based on cost. So you can set the cost as well as you can also give the sales price. And if you don't want to consider sales price or cost, you can choose the option as no. And we know that the hotel accommodation will be measured in days. So you can set that, and you also have to choose the product category as all expenses. As we can expense this, you also need to ensure that you have enabled can be expensed field. Now let's create an expense for this. For that, you can just dive into the expense module, and here we can see all the expenses that to report, the expenses that under validation, and the expenses that to be reimbursed. Now let's click on new button in order to create a new expense. So as you click on the category and choose the category, all other details will be automatically configured here. Now if Michelle admin wants to attach any receipts associated with this expense, he can attach that, and he can also create a report. So currently this expense is in to submit state. So as Michelle admin is creating a report, the expense will be moving from to submit state to track state. And you will get all other details, and he can also submit this to the manager. So as he submit this expense to the manager, an expense will be automatically created here. And you can see the expenses currently submitted to the manager, and he itself is acting as the manager so that he can approve the expense. So he is approving the expense, and currently this is in approved state. And when you go back to the expenses, you can see the status has moved from to submit to the approved state, like from the submitted state to the approved state. Now you want to post this in the journal entry, which means the manager will be posting this in the journal entry. So click on post journal entries, and you can see the journal entries with all the details, and with the journal items, the expenses that is based will be shown in the debit side, and the tax paid for this as well as the account payable. Everything is shown here. Now let's back to the expense that we have created, and we can click on register payment, and you can choose the journal, payment method, and the amount, everything, and just click on create payment so that this expense is in payment state, and after reconciliation, the payment will be moving to the bank, and you can see currently this is paid. And we can also reimburse the expenses in next payslip. For this, you can just go to the settings and enable the feature that is reimburse in next payslip, so that whenever employee is going through an expense for the company purpose, he can get the expense in his next month of salary. Okay, now let's create a new expense for this. And yeah, let me click on new in order to create a new expense, and let me choose the category. And here you can set the quantity. Let me choose a quantity as 2, and repeat the same procedure that we have followed. And once you click on create report, here you can see that you have got a report in next payslip, as we have enabled that field from the configuration settings. Now we can submit this to the manager. Okay, and the manager is approving this expense, and we can report this in the next payslip. So click on next, report in next payslip, so that you can see the Michelle admin, that he is the manager and he itself is acting as the employee, and he will give a notification, like he will log that your expense will be added to your next payslip, which means the employee will be getting that with the next month's salary. Now, in order to do that, you just may go to the payroll module, and under that we have payslips, and let's click on to pay. And here we can choose a new one and choose the employee. Let me choose the employee as Michelle admin, because Michelle admin is facing with the expense, and you can just click on save. So once you click on save, an expense will be automatically created. Here you can see the expense associated with this, and yeah, let me choose that. Here you can see we have total of 400 because he is taking the service for 2 days, so that 2 into 200 will be 400 for 2 days of service. Now let's back to the salary slip that we are creating, and you can see the salary computations, the work days and inputs, everything is shown here. Now we are using a structure of regular pay. Now let me click on compute sheet, so that this will be moving to the waiting state, and you can see all the work entries over here. So as we have given the period, you would be able to see the period that will be marked in this. And let me back and choose the one that we have created right now. And when you navigate into the salary computation, here you can see all the salaries that associated, the salary computations of the employee, Michelle admin. And here we can see expenses reimbursement, that is allowance category. And you can see we have set a rule for that, and the amount will be 400. So this amount will be given to the Michelle admin in the next payslip. So in order to manage with this, we have to deal with a rule. So in order to deal with that rule, under configuration, we have rules under the salary section. So here we have to create a rule. So here we have choose regular structure. So when you just unfold this, you would be able to see expense reimbursement as a rule, and you can see this will be automatically created by Odoo actually. So the rule will be given in the back end of Odoo. And here you can see the rule name is given as expense reimbursement, and we can give an expense code, sequence, salary structure, and we can make it active, and we can also make it to available in the payslip. And here you can see the conditions that to be given, like it's a Python expression, and with the conditions, this will be running automatically once we click on compute the salary rules. Okay, which means the expenses. So this is how we manage with the reimburse employee expenses in Odoo 16. So hope this concept is clear for you. Thank you for watching the video.